everyone, this is Jennifer Stay from Coloring Pages Bliss. In this video, I will be reviewing and demonstrating the Faber-Castell Polychromos color pencils. The first half of this video, we will take a close look at these pencils and put them through a series of tests to help us answer our questions. The second half of this video, I will demonstrate how they perform by coloring this charming little hen that I recently drew. You can download and print this and many more coloring pages from my website. As always, there are links to this coloring page, links to all the products that you will see in this video, and links to my Facebook page, website, and other social media outlets in the description below. Before I get started, let me state that I always give my honest opinion in reviews. I make every effort to be accurate about all details, but remember, please do your own research before making any purchases. Let's get started. Okay, these are the Polychromos by Faber-Castell, and they are beautiful. I have two sets here to show you today. This is the 60 set and the 12 set. I started out by purchasing the 12 set over a year ago, and it's one of my go-to sets that I keep in my purse or my art bag and take it with me because it's such a nice slim set, and it goes with me and it's really handy. I love that these sets come in such a nice sturdy metal tin. As you can see, it's been beat up on and taken a lot of abuse in my purse, and so I really appreciate that this tin has protected these gorgeous pencils. Also, the back of the case has a lot of information on it, and that has helped me a lot as well because it has all the swatches and information about the pencils. So the case is stellar with the Faber-Castell Polychromos. Now, recently, I was able to get my hands on the 60 set, and I feel totally spoiled. I have a video where you can go check out me opening up this set, and it was just like Christmas when I received this set, and I have been coloring with it and loving it because it is so much fun. I purchased a case by Global Art, and that's where I've been keeping the pencils, and I also purchased 21 additional open stock pencils to put with the set because I wanted a few additional colors. So I have been keeping the pencils in a case like this, and I carry it around with me upstairs, downstairs when I go out coloring with my sisters and family, and this has been fantastic. So I highly recommend getting a case like this if you don't want to keep it in the metal tin. Inside the case, let me open it up. It is on a hinge, which is really nice for coloring. Inside the case, it comes with a really nice little leaflet, and it just has a little history about the company. It has some coloring hints and ideas, lots of different languages, and then most importantly at the back is a full color chart with all 120 colors that are available, which is really handy if you decide you want to order additional colors, so you can see what is available from the company. Really awesome to keep a hold of this, so don't lose your little leaflet that comes when you order your pencils and get your set. Now, the pencils came in two separate trays that lift out like this, and the trays themselves are very wobbly, and this is the biggest reason why I decided to buy that extra case and keep my pencils outside of this tin, because these plastic cases are so wobbly. I was really concerned that eventually I would drop these and my pencils would fall, and that's the worst thing you can do to color pencils is drop them. And so I don't keep them in this tin. I keep them out and in that other case. But one thing I love about the tin is that once you do open it up and drop that top tray into the lid, fits really nice. You can see all your colors all at once, and they're really easy to grab and use. So it is a really good way to use your pencils. I have the 60 set and the 12 set. Faber-Castell really makes their products for the artist, and so they tend to run a little higher in cost. The 12 set online, I found it for usually around $16, and the 120 set is usually around $161. So you're going to find all their sets, 12, 24, 36, 60, and 120, everywhere from $16 to $161. You can also purchase the pencils individually, which, like I said earlier, I have already done because I found a lot of pencils that I wished I had that didn't come in the 60 set. And when you buy them individually, like I did on dickblick.com, they are about $1.69 each. So you can do that if you find you buy a smaller set and you want to build on it as time goes. Okay, so let's talk about the individual pencils now. Okay, here we have the pretty magenta pencil. And as you can see, the Faber-Castell Polychromos are a round pencil. They are closed-ended and painted on the entire body of the pencil, the color of what the core is going to be, which is really nice when you're trying to select what pencil you want to be doing your art with. The writing is done in a metallic gold color on all of the pencils, and it's pretty legible. Once in a while I feel like it's hard to see the writing because of the metallic, and you have to sort of move it in the light to catch it just right. You're going to find that the name of the color is done in both English and in German. Here you can see with magenta, it's both the same whether it's German or English, so it doesn't cause a problem. But on other colors, sometimes it does make a difference, like here. With this Delft blue, you can see there's German and then there's the English. It also shows the number. The 9201 just refers to the Polychromo set, I believe. And then 141 refers to this individual pencil. That number is really important, especially if you're going to be reordering this pencil, if you use it up really quickly and you want to buy just this one pencil. So that's an important number. Now there's also this star system, which is fantastic. This refers to something called light fast. Now in the artist world, you really want to know about light fast. And what it refers to is how long will this pigment color last on your paper? Is it going to last just a couple years? Is it going to last 100 years? Now if it has just one star, if you look on the back of your case or your tin, it has a little key to tell you what each of the stars mean. 1 star means it's reasonably light fast, 2 stars means it's light fast, and 3 stars is very light fast. And I learned online that 3 stars means it should last 100 or more years, the pigment from this pencil right here. And as you go through your pencils, you'll find that the majority of them, at least in the 60 set, as I was looking through them, the majority of them are 3 star, which is pretty cool. And that's saying a lot. Here's one that's just 2 star, 3 star, 3 star, 2 star, 3 star. I don't know if I had any single star pencils in this 60 set. And when you look at the chart inside the little leaflet that came with the tin, it also shows you all of the star ratings for each of the different pencils. So you would look up like right here, light cadmium yellow, and go to Polychromos pencils, and it would tell you the light fast rating for that product. So they have gone to a lot of trouble to create a tool that is really excellent for artists. And this means a lot if you're going to be making art that you're selling. You want to produce a piece that people can purchase and know that the colors are going to stay vivid, 15, 20, 100 years later. And so this is important, and this is one reason why the Faber-Castell Polychromos are a little more expensive than most of the other color pencils you might be accustomed to. Now, another difference about these pencils is that they have made the core of these pencils glued or sealed inside. It also talks about that on the back of your case. the leads are bonded to prevent breakage. So some brands have issues that as you're sharpening them, the leads will break often because the lead isn't bonded to the wood inside. Now, I have had a few leads break on me as I have been sharpening them, and so I think that's just a common issue with color pencils in general, and you have to be careful as you're sharpening them, and we will talk about that more later. But I have had very few issues with my Faber-Castell Polychromos. I've been extremely happy with how well they have been sharpening. Another thing that makes Polychromos a little different and worth the cost is that they are oil-based lead, not wax-based. Now, because they're oil-based, that makes them water-resistant and smudge-proof. And so as you're working with them, you're able to do more layers. They go down really creamy and smooth. They don't have as much buildup as some pencils will. They just act different than a wax-based pencil. And you're going to see that as we do some of the tests on the worksheet here in just a minute. Also, they have a 3.8 millimeter core. So that means they have a lot of product inside the core of this pencil, which is really exciting. You'll be able to use this pencil for a long time before having to replace it. And again, that's another reason why these are a little bit more pricey. Now, another thing that I always check for is the exterior of the pencil the same color as the way it colors out. It's one of my pet peeves that if they give you a pencil sample color, does it actually match what it's going to be when you color it out? So I have some color swatch charts here. So let's test that out. We have this color here. It's 151, and let's see how close it is right here to color, and that is really good. That's a good match. Let's test another one. How about over here in the yellow family? We'll test one. This is number 109, dark chrome yellow. Right here, dark chrome yellow, another good match. How about this one? I'm just kind of grabbing them randomly here. Matter 142 right here. That one's, yeah, pretty good. Yeah, I think so. Okay, so I would say that the colors of the exterior of the pencil match my color swatches really good. Now, if you'd like a color chart like this, I have them available on my website, so you can download a chart and create a swatch chart for your color pencils at home. So check out the links in my video so you can download a chart like this. Now, as I'm looking at the color chart that I created here for the 60 color set, I'm really happy with what I received here. Some of the things I look for: did I get a lot of color sets where I have some lights and darks that I can work together with as I'm coloring? Light, medium, and darks, I use that a lot, and so when I look at a set, do I find those kinds of pairings so I can color? I look for a good spectrum of colors, lots of yellows and pinks and blues and greens, so that I can do all kinds of different coloring projects. And I've been really happy with the 60 set. Like I said, though, I did end up purchasing another 21 colors open stock through dickblick.com. But I did that because I have fallen in love with the Polychromos and I wanted more to be able to do even more coloring. And so in the end, I think I'm going to end up with all 120 colors. I'll just have to slowly build up my set because I love them so much. All right, so let's get on over here to the tests on my worksheet. The first thing I'm going to do is use my color wheel here that I use as a color standard. And I'm going to choose out a yellow, green, blue, violet, red, and orange, and a few other colors that we can use for the tests on this worksheet. And I'm going to try to get the closest to each of these colors that I can to keep the test consistent between all of the different color pencil brands that I am testing. I'm also using the same paper that I've been using on all of my different tests, so even that is consistent. So let's set up and get the colors all swatched out and start our tests. Okay, we are ready to move on to doing some tests. We've got all of our colors picked and the samples colored out up top. One thing we don't have in the 60 set are the metallics, and when you look in our leaflet that came with our 60 set, it looks like there are 3 additional metallics that are available in the 120 Polychromos set: silver, gold, and copper. Right here, and they all have a 3-star rating, so I think those 3 may be the next 3 that I get open stock. Pretty cool. They also have a ruby metallic, blue metallic, and green metallic that are available in their marker set. That would be fun to get. Okay, so we won't be able to test their metallics today, but that's okay. The first test we get to perform is the core usage test. We're going to use a brown. I've chosen the Burnt Sienna 283 to test. And how we do this is by sharpening the pencil up first. And I'm using my Coom Magnesium sharpener here. It's a brand new sharpener, very sharp. So we are going to sharpen it up, and the first thing we want to see is, can we get these pencils to sharpen to a very pointy tip? That's really important with doing color pencil art, is getting a very pointy tip to your pencils when you want to do details and get into the ridges and tooth of the paper. And then we're going to color this 2" by 2" square and see how long the core will last for us as we're doing our art. So I'm sharpening this up. It really didn't need much sharpening, so we're just kind of bringing it to a tip here. Okay, there you can see we got a nice beautiful tip on that pencil. And the first time we go over this 2" by 2" square, we're going to use very light pressure. And a good way to do that, if you have trouble with using a heavy hand with your color pencil, is to move your hand to the back end of your pencil. And this will automatically help you to use a lighter pressure when you use your color pencils. Now, as you can see, with very light pressure, we're getting a lot of pigment going down onto the paper, and that is a very good sign of a high quality, high pigment pencil. Okay, let's see how much of that tip we used. You can see not very much to cover a 2" by 2" square. So the second layer of our square, we're going to use a medium pressure. So I usually move my hand down the pencil a little bit. And we're going to do a medium pressure and go over the whole square again. All right, very good. And take a peek at the tip of our pencil. Still lots of core left, which is good because we have our third and final layer to go. And this one is the burnishing or heavy layer, where we're going to put a lot of pressure as we go, and we're going to try to fill in all the what's left of the white on the paper. And this layer is sort of to see how hard these pencils are to work with. Do I have to work really hard? How does the core feel? Is this a difficult pencil, a difficult tool to work with? And is there enough pigment in this pencil that I can fill the entire square before the core runs out on one sharpening. Okay, look at that. Now, I would think that that's probably the most core that I've ever had left over so far in all my reviews after doing the third and final layer on the core usage test. That's pretty impressive. We could have kept going. Now, it was quite a lot of work to do this step, more than I thought it would be with these pencils, because usually I'm really impressed by how easy they are to work with. So I was a little surprised how quickly I got tired with this step. The burnishing step is always a lot of work, but I was surprised this was harder than I thought it would be with the Polychromos. But beautiful results. Look how gorgeous. And a lot of core left over. Awesome. Okay, let's move on to this test here, where we're going to see if the Polychromos are visible on black. A lot of artists do their art on paper that is different than just white. They might use a brown background or even a black piece of paper. So I like to test and see if the pencils are visible on white. Now, this is an oil-based product, so it will be interesting to see if we get a different result than with the wax-based pencils. So here's blue and yellow and red. Okay, let me move that in the light so you can see. Definitely showing up better than some, but not remarkably well. Okay, now we're going to move on to the erasing test. Often we want to erase any mistakes if we get outside of lines, or if you want to erase some of the color and lift it off so that you can show a highlight. So in this test, we're going to see how well the Polychromos erase. This is one of my favorite erasers for color pencils. It's a Factis Black 18. Pretty good. Okay, now we're going to test and see how black the black is that they have given us. This is a straight up black 199. In the 120 set, they also have a Payne's black, but it's more gray according to the swatch that they have shown here. So this is their blackest black. So I'm going to color it out and really burnish it in here. When I need a black, I like to have a really true dark black. And so I have run into a few color pencil sets that don't give you a really good deep black. And that's why I test this on every set I receive. Okay, and on my color wheel it has a value scale where we can see and test to see approximately how black of a value it is. And this would be 100% black. And I would say that it's definitely coming in at 100% black. I'm going to move it in the light just a little bit. It's so funny. I would say it's definitely value 1, but when the light catches the sheen of the oil of the core, it looks more like value 2. So I guess it depends on how the light hits it. So I just realized we forgot to finish up the core usage test, and we need to do a final sharpening to see how easy it is to bring this pencil back to a nice sharp point. So remember, when you are sharpening color pencils with hand sharpener, that you hold the color pencil still and you move your sharpener around your pencil. That will protect the core of the pencil and reduce the amount of breakage you get. Okay, and there we've got it back to a beautiful point. Okay, now we get to start some of the layering and blending tests, which I think are the most fun. The first one we're going to do is right here, and it's a layering test with the colors blue, brown, and yellow. And what we want to see is how well these colors will layer. And we start by doing a very light layer of blue across this entire rectangle. Okay, then next we're going to use our yellow to cover 2/3 of the rectangle. And what we're looking for is, of course, blue and yellow together make the color green. And we want to be able to see that green happen. We still want to see flecks of the white coming through as well. Good. And finally, I'm going to do the brown on the last third. Often I'll layer this up like this when I'm coloring a tree or something brown, so that it's not just a flat brown color, it will have depth. So you want the colors below to show through, but you want it to be overall brown. And if you have a color pencil that layers well, it will do that. It will allow you to put layer upon layer and build colors and still show through. Some color pencils, when you get to this point, it will feel so slippery and it'll almost feel like it will just reject and not allow you to continue to layer. But I'm feeling with these polychromos, almost feels like there isn't previous layers, and I could keep going, adding 4, 5, 6 layers on this. And that is the sign of a high quality color pencil. Look at that, that is so cool. So you have overall the color of brown, but when you look close at it, you can still see the flecks of yellow and blue and green. So pretty. And like I said, it still feels like I can keep on layering. Okay, let's practice some blending now. See how these colors blend. Now we're going to practice with Jennifer's rule of blending thirds. If you'd like to learn more about that, there's a link to a video where I teach the blending rule of thirds in the description of this video. We're going to use yellow, orange, and red to test it here. Yellow, orange, and red. And the first step here is to color the entire rectangle yellow. And this is just with light to medium pressure. Okay, now the second layer we're going to do is with our orange, and we do 2/3 of the rectangle in orange. Okay, and then the final third is in the red. This is a really good technique to do if you're coloring the petals of flowers or any kind of coloring where you want to get a good gradient and some pretty depth of color. You can try using the rule of blending thirds. Okay, then back to orange to start the blending out process. Try to get smooth transitions now between the red and back to the orange. And finally, you go over the whole thing again with the yellow, and it will bring it all together. Okay, wow, that turned out gorgeous. Look at that. These pencils love to blend. Beautiful. Okay, let's move on now. Over here we're going to do same kind of blending, only instead of doing 3 different pencils, we're going to do 2, and we're going to use a white pencil to help blend them together. This time we're going to use red and blue. Of course, putting red and blue together, we should get a nice violet in between. So 2/3 of this square now, or rectangle, is going to be with the red. We're going to use a light to medium pressure again, so that we get lots of good pigment down. I love how quickly and smoothly the color goes down with these pencils. Okay, and then this 2/3 will be blue, and in the middle we're hopefully going to achieve a violet. Okay, then we're going to use our white pencil to bring those 2 pigments together. Some white pencils work better than other pencils to do this blending technique. So we'll see how the Polychromos pencil works. Okay, there you can see how nice and smooth a white pencil overlay works to bring together the pigments. And we've got a nice, it's more of a red violet in there, but that's okay. Obviously it would be red violet because we were using a lot of red, and it looks lovely. It's a nice way to blend together the Polychromos. Okay, we're going to move over here to this rectangle now and use odorless mineral spirits to do some blending. This is one of my favorite ways to work with color pencils, and we'll see how Polychromos like to play with odorless mineral spirits. In this container here, I have the odorless mineral spirits. Most people know it by the name brand Gamsol. And I just keep a small amount in a small container like this. And then I have a blending stub here. You can also use a paintbrush for blending and moving the mineral spirits over your pencils. Okay, so for this test, we color 2/3 of the rectangle in blue, and we want to do the light to medium pressure, so we leave a lot of pigment in the rectangle so that the odorless mineral spirits has a lot to work with. Then the other 2/3 of the rectangle gets yellow, and we should of course get green in the middle. And if you've never tried odorless mineral spirits with your coloring, I highly recommend you pick up some. You can get it at pretty much any arts and crafts store, usually in the painting department. And like I said, it's usually under the name brand Gamsol, and it's really fun to try and play with your color pencils. You do have to be a little cautious as you work with it because it is flammable and you don't want to breathe in the fumes. But it works almost like magic, as you will soon see. Okay, so here we have the odorless mineral spirits that I've put in a small container, just a small amount of it. And this is a blending step. You can also use a paintbrush if you'd like. And I'm just soaking up some of the odorless mineral spirits into the blending stump. And then I usually do small circles, and it breaks down the oils or waxes of the pencil and leaves behind the pigments. I like using it because it smooths out your strokes. It will help remove the white of the paper, and it blends the colors together and gives a beautiful look. Look how pretty. That blue is just going across almost the whole rectangle. So pretty. That blue pigment was so strong it traveled across. We ended up with green all the way across the whole rectangle. Okay, so as you can see, Odorless Mineral Spirits works really good with Polychromos. Okay, we've got one more blending test to perform, and that's in this rectangle. And we're going to use yellow and red. And a colorless blender pencil. This one is by Prismacolor Premier. And basically it's a pencil with blending filler agents and no pigment. So we're going to do 2/3 of the rectangle in yellow and 2/3 in red, and in the middle we'll use the blender pencil to see if we can achieve a pretty orange color. Okay, let's see if this works. I get questions about this all the time, if the Prismacolor Premier colorless blender will work with the Faber-Castell Polychromo pencils. And as you can see, it works beautifully to blend out those strokes and bring those colors together. Getting a really pretty orange here. Colorless blender pencils are another really fun tool to purchase if you don't have one yet. Very pretty. Okay, I just finished filling out a few of the final questions for after the tests were completed. I felt like the core usage was extraordinary. It's the best I've seen so far. Once we finished the 2-inch square test, there was still core to be used, and the sharpening went really well. The core feels very silky and wonderful, but the burnishing in of the final layer, the 3rd layer, was more difficult than I expected. It was harder on my hand, and I actually had to take a little break at the very end before I could finish it up because my hand was getting a little tired. I was able to sharpen it up to a beautiful point every time, and over the testing that I've been doing over the last few months, I've only had a couple pencils break on me, so that's really good. Layering and blending is where these pencils shine. They just want to layer, and they seem to almost have no limit to the amount of layering you can do. Now, where layering and blending is important is if you do projects that have a lot of depth and a lot of detail, like with skin tones or natural, like landscape type coloring projects. If you have a pencil that can layer, you can correct mistakes, you can add tons of depth, and this pencil is the one you're going to want. It will do an excellent job for you. It erases well, so you'll be able to add highlights and correct your mistakes. The oil-based product means that you'll have less buildup, so that layering can happen, and I think you're going to be extremely happy with these pencils. Okay, now that we've got all of the testing on the worksheet completed, let's move to the second half of this video where I'm going to be demonstrating these pencils on this cute little hen that I've drawn. Remember, you can download this hen on my website, so check out the links in the video to come and download it. Remember, if you're enjoying this video, to hit like and make sure you subscribe. Now I'm going to set up to do some coloring, and as I'm coloring, I'll be doing a whole bunch of hints and tips along the way, so I hope you enjoy this demonstration. Okay, so I've got my 60 color set ready here to do the coloring on my sweet little hen, and I think I'm going to make her a little red hen, just like the little poem or story. And I'm going to pick out my colors, start with some reds here. I really like this middle cadmium red 217. And I like the way I think this deep scarlet red will look with it. So let's grab that one, 219. Okay, so I've gone through and picked out 4 colors to work with. The main one will be this red because she's going to be my red hen. And then I've got some supporting colors of yellow, blue, and green to work with. So we're going to move in and start with the hen and build up from there. And looks like we need to do a little bit of sharpening to start off. Okay, so to start off with, I've laid down, let's see, this is number 131, medium flesh, across the hen's main body. Now we've got a really dominant light source coming from the top left corner, and she's looking up at it. So we're going to want to really take note of that and be careful of that. So the front part of her right here is going to be lighter, and the back side of her will be in more shadow. So as we build up the darker shades of her red body, we're going to want to really lay in darker shadows back here and under her wings. So really be careful of that as you're coloring your little hen. So I'm going to go to a medium color now and start building up those shadows down here and a little touch of shadow up here just to give her some shape. Oh, and this is Pompeian Red number 191. Okay, now I have my middle cadmium red number 217, and I'm going to keep building up these nice dark shadows and blending in my other 2 reds because we really want her to be a nice red hen, but still being really mindful of that bright light source that we're going to be coloring in a little while. Okay, now I've gone back to my palest of the 3 reds, which is medium flesh, and I'm smoothing out the different layers. I can also use the medium color, which is the Pompeian Red, to help in this part as well. Okay. Now, I think we're going to play around with some mineral spirits, but before we do that, I'd like to establish the accent feathers, and I'm going to use some greens here. But I want to be careful not to get the greens mixed in with the mineral spirits, so yeah, let's go ahead and use the mineral spirits on her body to help the red to blend in. And we're going to get rid of some of these white areas with the mineral spirits. I love how quickly the mineral spirits blends out that pencil we used. Takes away all the white flecks of the paper, and really brings out the colors of the pencils, especially that deep red, the middle cadmium red that we used back here on the back of the bird. It's so deep and red now, so pretty. And it gives an overall just softness to the bird. Love it. I don't have to keep adding layer upon layer until all that white disappears. The Odorless Mineral Spirits takes care of it for me, and I don't have to be wearing out all my energy and muscles in my hand to do it. Fantastic tool. Okay, now we get to work on the accent feathers and the wings. Move that to the side and cover it. Keep the fumes contained and prevent it from spilling, right? That's all we need is mineral spirits everywhere. Okay, so I thought we would use these greens, and I can go grab some more greens if I need to. Right now I have two greens, a Juniper Green 165 and Chromium Green Opaque 174. They're pretty close in color. Let me show you their samples because the bodies of the pencil is hard to tell. Here's the Juniper Green 165 and the Chromium Green 174. This one's just a little bit lighter, the 174. So it should work really nice. So we'll start with the lightest one, which is the Chromium Green right here. I wanted to keep the accent sort of muted so that the red of the hen was the main attraction in this coloring version. I wanted the red to be the main attraction and the yellow sun we're going to color to be the main attraction. So that's why I was thinking blue and greens to be the accent colors. Blend it up into the red just a little bit. It'll give us a nice light brownish type color right there. Okay, I've switched to the Juniper Green now and just adding some shadows. Deepening up the color a little bit. And back to the lighter green to start the blending in. Okay, now I'm feeling like the lightest area of the greens needs to be cheered up a little bit of warming up. And so I've grabbed actually the darkest of the yellows that I'll be using up in the sunshine. This is the Dark Naples Ochre 184. Is it ochre or ochre? I think it's ochre. Dark Naples Ochre. And I'm just going to add a little yellow into the highlight areas of the green part of her body. Oh yeah, I like that. Really warms it up. This is where, again, like I said when we were doing the worksheet, the ability of the Faber-Castell Polychromos to layer is so helpful because I hadn't anticipated using yellow, but a last minute decision and then the ability to keep adding layers has given me an opportunity to make this coloring page even better. Look how pretty that yellow is. I may even carry this yellow into the red a little bit. Not much, because we don't want our red hen to turn orange. Another reason why I chose to use the yellow that I will be using in the sunshine is because it will make the little red hen look like she's standing in the correct kind of light, like she's being sun-kissed. It's always a good idea to use a bit of the right lighting in the whole coloring page. Keep your lighting in mind while you're coloring. It's not always white light that we're using in our coloring. Okay, so I was a little worried that that dark yellow would turn my little red hen orange. So I switched over to my lightest yellow, which is this cream colored, Cream 102. And I'm using it on this part of the little red hen that is getting the most sunlight, the face of the hen here. And just giving her a little kiss of sunshine so she feels like she fits into this sunny world we're creating for her. Well, that's pretty. Okay, now we do have a little red that got up into her eye, and I'm not quite sure what I'm going to be doing right here yet. So while I'm remembering that that mistake is there, I'm going to lift it away with my eraser. And back to my mineral spirits to help blend all the green feathers in. One thing you need to be cautious with your odorless mineral spirits is if you're printing your coloring pages with a inkjet printer, sometimes the odorless mineral spirits can make the lines of your coloring page bleed. You want to test that a little bit and see how it's reacting. This was printed on a laser printer, so it doesn't bleed very much, if at all. And I just tried to avoid the lines as much as possible. And when I do go over them, I try to be really light-handed so I don't lift and move those lines. Wow, look at how much the odorless mineral spirits is bringing out those greens and yellows. And I love how it keeps the shading that I have created already. So I went through on each of the feathers, and the quill or rib part of the feather I did a dark red, and now I'm going to do these bottom feathers also sort of a red. Okay, and then I think the beak and the legs I'm going to do the darkest yellow mixed with some of the red. So the dark Naples ochre to a base of that color. And then grab the medium red here, the Pompeian red, and just do some really light strokes over the yellow. I want the top of the beak to feel lighter than the underside of the beak. Grab the lightest yellow to help blend it in. And the bottom of her feet should be a little darker than the rest of her legs. Okay, then I'm just going back and building in any extra shadows and smoothing out. any areas that I feel like just need a little extra enhancing. I'm still not quite sure what color I want these accent circles and around the eye to be, so I'm going to leave those for just a little bit as I turn my attention to the sunshine here. But I'm feeling really good about my cute little hen here. I like how deep red and deep green it turned out. And then I like the sun-kissed feel of her face. I really like that. Okay, for this first ring of the sunshine, I've just lightly colored a base layer here of our yellow, our lightest yellow, which is the cream 102. And then I'm going to bring in our medium yellow, which is dark cadmium yellow, and start building up some interesting layers here. And then back to the cream color, and that will blend the two layers together. Then I'm going to use the darkest yellow, which is my dark Naples ochre 184, for this band of yellow right here. Okay, I decided to give her red ring around her eyes just to keep with the theme of the red hen. And then I added yellow, the darkest yellow, highlights for the little accent dots to, once again, just give that sun-kissed look to remind us that she's looking up at the sunshine. Now we have some blue here that I have pulled out of our 60 set of Faber-Castell Polychromos. I have the light ultramarine 140 and the Phthalo Blue 110. And I was thinking of using these two colors just very lightly in the background. Now it's sort of on the nose as far as blue sky, but I think it's going to be really pretty because it sort of goes, as far as a color theme, the three main colors being yellow, red, and green, and then adding the blue, it works really well together as a color theory type color scheme. So that's why I went with the blue. And yeah, it is on the nose for a background, but I think it's going to be really soft and lovely, especially where I plan to do it really light, more of a just a kiss of blue, not a really bold blue. So I'm holding the pencil at an angle so that I get really light coverage, just barely covering the tooth of the paper, and I'm way at the end of the pencil, and that's a good way to do probably the lightest amount of pencil if you ever want to try doing this effect where it's just mainly it's just catching the texture of the paper. I'm starting with the lightest blue. I'm going to sort of wash over the whole background. It's going to be so light that if we didn't have this border line with the white next to it, you almost wouldn't notice that it was blue. So it's more just the feeling of blue. Try to avoid blue streaks like I did there. Go really lightly and try to blend that blue streak out. I could grab my eraser if I wanted to and lift some of that out. Like I said, it's more like the feel of a blue background. Okay, so very, very light. Now I've got my Phthalo Blue here, and I want to sort of give a halo, shadowy type feeling around our red hen. Very, very light-handed here. Again, I'm at the back of my pencil and holding it at a real extreme angle to the paper. You can be a little darker with the blue down low because, again, the sunlight and wouldn't be hitting our little hen as much on the underside of her. Let's see, I'm going to change the direction of the paper so I can get a good angle here without laying down too much pigment with this blue here. I don't want the blue to be the thing that your eye goes to first. I want it to be the little red hen and then the sunshine. So I'm trying to be really light-handed here. Okay, and then back to our light ultramarine blue. And really light-handed again, we'll just blend out that line. Okay, this eyeball just looked way too flat, especially compared to all the dimension that was going on around it. So I've grabbed two grays. They are the cold grays that come in the 60 pack, Cold Gray 2 and Cold Gray 4, 231 and 233. And what I did was I did a quick light ring around the eye with the lightest of the two grays. And then I'm using the darker of the two grays to darken up this back side of the eyeball and on the underside of the eyeball. I'm not going to darken this side of the eyeball because that's where the sun is going to be hitting that eyeball. And then, of course, the white of the eye would be reflecting the yellow of the sun. So right here, where the yellow of the sun would be hitting the eyeball, I'm just going to gently and delicately kiss it with some yellow. And then go back to my lightest gray and blend back in the darker of the grays, and stay away from that whites right here in the middle, just to maintain the feeling that this is a white eyeball. And there, oh, that looks much better now. It doesn't look like I forgot to color the eyeball, and it feels round and like it fits in our coloring page. A little kiss, a little bit more of the yellow in there. There, that looks like she's looking up at the sun with her nice round eye. And there you have it. That looks so much better where that eyeball needed that little bit of shape to it. So great. And the background I'm okay with. I wish it had some more detail, and if I wanted to, I could spend more time and add some more shapes and details and probably hit it with some of our odorless mineral spirits to smooth out all those white spots. But for now, I'm really happy with her, our little red hen. There, very good. So that's the Faber-Castell Polychromos. I must say they are now one of my all-time favorite color pencils. I don't think I could say at this point if they are my favorite. We're going to have to do some more reviews because I have at least 25 more color pencil brands on my shelf right over there to review before I can declare which brand is my favorite. But I will tell you that they are in my case and they are by my coloring station at all times, and I use them a lot. So they are one of my very favorites. So remember that this coloring page I just colored is available as a downloadable PDF on my website. All the links you need are in the description below. Thanks for watching this color pencil review. Please take a moment to like this video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I have many more reviews and tutorials here on my channel with live weekly events on my Facebook page. I would love to have you join our fun community. If there is a product you would like me to review, please comment below. Thanks again for watching, and have a blissful and colorful day. Goodbye!